Lawrence sat at his desk, chewing on his pen and thinking of Adam. He and Adam had just started a physical relationship, and it was like nothing Lawrence had ever experienced. He had never felt so sexually liberated. He had never felt so horny. Lawrence sat there, remembering how good Adam's mouth tasted, how good his tongue felt, wrapped around Lawrence's. How good his drugstore soap smelled. His pants grew tighter around him, the more he thought about it. He couldn't wait to get home and just tear Adam apart. Lawrence had no surgery scheduled and thought maybe he should just duck out early. I mean, why not? Lawrence got up from his desk, grabbed his cane and briefcase, and headed home. Lawrence waited impatiently for the elevator in his apartment building to reach the 12th floor. It seemed to take forever. Finally he heard the ding, the doors opened, and Lawrence moved as fast as he could with a cane and a prosthetic foot, as he could. He reached his door and fumbled with his keys hurriedly. The door swings open, Lawrence steps in, puts his keys and briefcase down on the wooden table to the left of the door. Adam, he yells out. No response, but he hears the sound of the shower running, coming from their bathroom. An evil grin crosses Lawrence's face. Perfect. He's already naked, Lawrence thought, practically rubbing his palms together like a movie villain. Lawrence enters the bathroom and sees his adorable boyfriend's tiny, tight body through the clear, glass shower. Lawrence takes a moment to just stand there and stare. He watches Adam's soapy body being sprayed by the fancy shower head, steam rising up around him. Lawrence's pants grow uncomfortably tight, and he can't help but reach down over his pants and rub his rock-hard cock, just a little. Adam still has not noticed him, and Lawrence's raging erection is becoming uncontrollable. He walks right up to the shower door, pulls it open, and a startled Adam turns around, eyes wide. Lawrence? Adam says, confused. You're home early, said Adam, surprised. Lawrence reaches into the shower and pulls Adam out by his arm. Adam's eyes wide with confusion. Lawrence, what the hell has gotten into you? Shouted Adam. Lawrence didn't answer. He just shoved Adam up against the bathroom wall, grabbed a handful of his sopping wet hair, and started shoving his tongue deep into Adam's mouth. Adam wrapped his arms around Lawrence and embraced the crazy, hot madness. Lawrence moved his mouth from Adam's to his neck, biting, kissing, and sucking it, rough and passionately, breathing heavily and grunting as he bit down hard on Adam's collarbone and shoulders. Adam just grabbed onto Lawrence's hair and moaned as Lawrence's teeth and lips explored Adam's upper body. Suddenly, Lawrence picked Adam up off the ground, still up against the wall, and Adam wrapped his legs around a hunky, older man. He couldn't believe how strong Lawrence was, even with the prosthetic foot. Lawrence kept the lightweight younger man lifted up against the wall, Adam's leg grasping his waist tightly. Lawrence suddenly put his right index finger in his mouth and got it nice and wet with saliva. Adam watched Lawrence suck on his own finger, knowing what was soon to come. Lawrence reached down under Adam, still managing to hold him up, and shoved his wet index finger right up Adam's tight little ass. Adam's eyes rolled back in his head and he moaned with pleasure as the sex-crazed older man finger-fucked his brains out, shoving his finger deep inside Adam as hard as possible. Adam was so turned on, his erection was almost painful. Fuck me. Now, Adam said sternly to Lawrence. Lawrence pulled his finger out of Adam, looked him in the eyes, and said, as you wish. Lawrence put Adam back down where his feet touched the floor, and roughly pushed him over to the bathroom counter, where the sink was, both men standing in front of the mirror. Lawrence reached into the drawer and pulled out a bottle of lube. Adam watched in the mirror excitedly as Lawrence lathered his big cock with lubricant. Lawrence grabbed Adam by the hair and shoved his face down, left cheek flat on the surface. He held Adam's head down like that, forced Adam's legs open just a bit more, and pushed all 8 inches of himself into Adam. Adam groaned and moaned, as Lawrence's rock-hard cock filled his tight orifice. Lawrence thrust in and out of Adam, rough and hard, and then going in balls deep, and when he felt his ballsack touch the bottom of Adam's ass cheeks, he just stopped and held it for a moment, before thrusting again. Adam let out a loud cry of pleasure, and Lawrence let go of Adam's head. Adam looked up at the reflection of the 2 men fucking, and said, "Hey, it's kind of like watching yourself in a porn, huh?" Lawrence flashed a wicked grin and kept on fucking Adam. Adam's head got tired, and he put it down for a moment to give his neck a rest. Lawrence immediately grabbed Adam by his hair, pulling his head back up, so Adam could see their reflection, and said, "No. Watch." That was the hottest thing Adam had ever heard. He obeyed and watched the husky, hot blonde plow him like an Iowa cornfield. Lawrence reached around and began stroking Adam's 7-inch cock. Adam was so hot that it took about 45 seconds of Lawrence jerking him, for him to jizz all over the front of the bathroom sink. Lawrence kept plunging deep inside him, pushing Adam's lower stomach into his own jizz. Adam did not mind. Even though he already shot his load, he was still so hot. Lawrence finally felt the tingle of his orgasm swelling up inside him. He groaned loudly, and filled Adam with his exploding orgasm. He practically collapsed, resting his torso on Adam's back, still inside of him. The 2 men just sat there for a moment, grunting. Lawrence gathered the strength to stand up, pulled himself out of Adam. He gave Adam a hard smack on the ass, and Adam yelped and stood up quickly. Adam handed Lawrence his cane, and they headed for their room, neither one of them having any desire to clean up afterwards. They loved going to bed smelling like sex. "That was the best sex I've ever had," said Lawrence. Yeah, definitely," said Adam. The 2 cuddled up together, panting like dogs, their hearts pounding too hard to fall asleep immediately. But that's okay. They have all night.